This is Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. I'm Abiodun AI. Right now, our shift spotlights on the gateway state, Ogun State, a state with deep political roots, strategic economic importance, and a people who know how to make their voices heard. But today, Ogun is not just about governance, it's about rivalry, ambition, and the battles already brewing for 2027. At the center of it all is a rift between two heavyweights, former Governor Gbenga Daniel and now a senator, and the incumbent governor of Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun. Once allies, now rivals, their fallout is reshaping alliances in Abeokuta and beyond. Now, why does this actually matter? Because Ogun is not just another state, it is a prized political battleground for the ruling APC, for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and for the power brokers in the southwest. The gateway state holds the key to both regional dominance and national bargaining power. Then comes the Ogun East factor, a region that has long demanded greater recognition in the state's political zoning rotation. Its voting strength could tilt the balance in 2027. Will it back Gbenga Daniels, the seasoned operator with federal connections, or will it stand with the sitting governor Dapo Abiodun, who is determined to consolidate power and block Daniels' comeback path? And let's not forget the wider stage, Tinubu's presidency. Every governor in the southwest matters for his legacy, his re-election calculation, and his grip on the region. Ogun, with its political pedigree, will actually serve as a jewel, not for the president alone, which he cannot lose. The ambitions are bold, and the cracks in Ogun political family tree are widening by the day. The question is simple, but the answer is quite complex. Who will hold the gateway state come 2027? Gbenga Daniel with his Ogun East network and senatorial platform, or the incumbent governor, Dapo Abiodun, with the machinery of incumbency? Or will Tinubu himself tip the scales in favor of loyalty over rivalry? Join us shortly. I'm Abiodun AI. You're welcome back to the show. Now we're talking about the rift between Dapo Abiodun and former Ogun State Governor Gbenga Daniels. The lingering face-off between both the Ogun State governments led by Dapo Abiodun and Senator Gbenga Daniels assumed a new dimension after the state chapter of the All Progressives Congress, the APC, announced the suspension of the senator from the Senate representing Ogun State Senatorial East against or for alleged anti-party activities. The suspension came at a time Senator Daniel is actually battling tooth and nail to salvage his Asoludero residence and conference hotel in Shagamu local government area from demolition. Daniel had accused the state government of planning to demolish his properties under the Ogun State Urban and Regional Planning and Development Law number 61 of 2022. Despite claiming the buildings were legally constructed before the law came into effect. Governor Abiodun and Senator Daniel, who currently represents Ogun East in the Senate, have been at loggerheads before, during, and after the 2023 general elections. Now, while Abiodun's loyalists accuse Daniel of undermining the governor's leadership of the state within the state, Daniel repeatedly alleged that Abiodun did not support President Bola Tinubu during the APC presidential primary, but backed another aspirant. Now, insiders maintain that Abiodun was never comfortable with Daniel's emergence as a senator representing Ogun East, largely because of the former's ambition to occupy the seat after completing his second term in office come 2027. The governor was said to have preferred a weaker candidate, but party leaders and Tinubu insisted that Daniel be given the ticket. Since Daniel's election, the relationship between both men have deteriorated. Abiodun's camp accuses Daniel of fraternizing with the PDP, the People's Democratic Party, while Daniel's loyalists claim that the governor is determined to cripple his influence within the APC. Now, both gladiators within the arena hail from Ogun East Senatorial District. Daniel, who was governor between 2023, or rather, I beg your pardon, 2003 to 2011 on the PDP platform, defected to the APC in 2019. That year, he played a decisive role in Abiodun's victory after the then governor Ibikunle Amosu openly opposed Abiodun and backed Adekunle Akinlade of the Allied People's Movement, the APM. Analysts note that Abiodun might not have won without Daniel's support, with Amosu, who was incumbent governor, running from Ogun Central, with Akinlade, his preferred candidate, came from Ogun West. Abiodun massively relied on Daniel's grassroots machinery and the backing of the late Senator Buruji Kashamu to win in 2019. How the alliances collapsed so quickly remains a puzzle which is yet to be solved. Many APC members allege Daniel has leaned on his PDP links to survive, while accusing Abiodun of wielding the APC structure to suppress him since he became senator. Now, the latest flashpoint came during a recent by-election when Daniel was accused of quietly supporting the PDP candidate against the APC flag bearer, who had the governor's backing. Now, moving on from rifts to suspensions and fallouts, the APC, the All Progressives Congress in Ogun State, had dropped a political bombshell, which was actually the suspension of the senator representing Ogun East, Gbenga Daniels. Now, who he once hailed as a kingmaker, now branded as a dissenter, alongside him, Kunle Folarin, facing similar fate also, both accused of anti-party activities, intimidation of members, and outright defiance of the party's summons. The state's working committee says the move was to protect discipline. Critics call it a purge. Supporters will say or call it justice, but one thing is certain, this decision has actually deepened the cracks in the ruling party at a time when the unity is needed most. Now, to further understand the weight of this moment, we must revisit Ogun's political triangle, Abiodun, Daniel, and Amosu. Once the so-called Big Three, together they shape the state's destiny, sometimes as allies, often as adversaries. Daniel, recognized as a trailblazer, Amosu, the fierce combatant, and Abiodun, the incumbent governor, the beneficiary of shifting loyalties. Now, their histories now stitched or interwoven with betrayal, survival, and the eternal struggle for dominance. Now, with the 2027 elections looming, the old wounds will resurface. Abiodun, nearing the end of his second tenure or term, eyeing the Ogun East senatorial seat. Daniel, already seated there on the Ogun State senatorial seat, refuses to be pushed aside or brushed over. And Amosu, former governor, ever calculating, watching, waiting for the right moment to actually react. Now, these suspensions are more than disciplinary actions. They are signals, or not just signals, that the ruling party in Ogun State is preparing for a bruising contest over succession, which signals that President Tinubu's stakes in the gateway state, Ogun State to be precise, are higher than ever. If we may ask rhetorically, is this the beginning of Daniel's political twilight or the first move in a counter-assault that could actually reshape Ogun's political balance yet again? Zeroing in now to the Ogun East factor and the 2027 ambitions with the Big Three. The Ogun East factor and 2027 ambitions in connection to the Dapo Abiodun-Gbenga Daniel's rifts. Governor Dapo Abiodun and Senator Gbenga Daniels, once allies, now rivals, are both natives of this strategic district which I have mentioned, Ogun East to be precise. And both, it seems, have their eyes on the same prize, which is actually the senatorial seat in Abuja come 2027. Now, for Abiodun, the Senate is the traditional landing pad for the governor's tenure, which will be coming soon. For Daniel, it is a seat he already occupies, one he is determined to defend and not to relinquish. The clash of ambition has thrown the ruling APC into a dangerous whirlpool, if we will agree with all my narratives. Will Abiodun produce a successor and step aside for Daniel? Or will Daniel sacrifice his ambition for the governor's transition plan? So far, neither man will blink or bat an eye. But the drama does not end in the East. From Ogun West, Senator Solomon Olamilekan, better known as Yayi, insists that 2027 is finally the turn of Yewa land. Since 1976, Ogun West has never produced a governor, a wound that grows deeper with every election. Yayi's message is clear. Competence must trump over the zoning agitation. Yet, the Governor Abiodun's stance on his ambition remains uncertain. And from Ogun Central, another name is being widespread in a hushed manner. Finance Minister Wale Edun, a trusted ally of the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is seen by some as a compromise candidate who could hold Ogun APC together. Sources close to the villa even hints that Tinubu may use Wale Edun as a stabilizer or neutralizing factor, keep Yayi in the Senate and let Daniel retain his seat, and probably hand over Dapo Abiodun an offer he can't refuse, which is a federal role if he is actually to secure a second term in office. But politics in Ogun has never been that simple, if we will agree. Former Governor Ibikunle Amosun, though bruised, continues to throw darts at Abiodun, famously mocking him earlier in the year as an accidental governor, if we will remember, might I say. APC risks losing the state if egos are not put in check. The question before Ogun APC is stark. Can the party reconcile these ambitions, or will the gateway state become the gateway for opposition takeovers in 2027? Which brings me in further discussions. One thing is clear, Ogun East is no longer just a district. It is the battlefield where futures will decide or will be decided, alliances broken, and Tinubu stakes in the southwest tested like never before. Currently, the story of Ogun politics is that of ambition, rivalry, and the restless dance of power. Now, coming to the cracks, which will serve as windows for opposition parties, particularly the PDP and the ADC. While the All Progressives Congress remains the dominant force here, its internal rifts have opened cracks that opposition parties are now eager to widen and take advantage of. The PDP, battered but not broken, is sensing opportunity here. Segun Showumi, a PDP stalwart, put it bluntly, APC is busy fighting itself. PDP is reorganizing. Ogun people might have a clear alternative in 2027. Now, those were the words of Showumi, but it's not just the PDP. The African Democratic Congress, once lifted by the influence of Olusegun Obasanjo, may no longer command the same momentum, but it hasn't vanished. ADC Chairman Chief Bolade Oshinowo was emphatic. If APC breaks, we will be ready. Now, this is an affirmative statement, might we agree? History offers a sharp reminder in 2019. Akinlade's defection to the Allied People's Movement also toppled APC's dominance. A repeat scenario is actually playing out as another fracture in the ruling party could swing the door wide open for PDP, the ADC, or even an unexpected coalition. Yet, beyond the broader power games lies a deeper concern: governance. Ogun State's roads remain in despair. Unemployment is actually skyrocketing or climbing, hitting the summit, and the state's proximity to Lagos, once a blessing, now exposes its unfulfilled potential. Opposition voices accuse Governor Dapo Abiodun of prioritizing political survival over the people. The governor, in any case, pushes back. He insists progress is on the way, from road projects to health investments and new investors at the gates of Ogun. Politics will not distract us. These were his words, might we recall, during the by-elections. But the longer the crisis festers, the more governance risks being sacrificed at the altar of ambition. Ogun's history is riddled with elite quarrels, and its 7.5 million residents know the cost of all this too well. Promises deferred and progress is actually delayed. Now, meanwhile, silence echoes from key actors as Senator Gbenga Daniel has declined comments. Senator Ibikunle Amosun, through aides, says he would rather stay quiet for now. But in politics, silence can be louder than words, if you'll agree. So will Ogun remain the stronghold of APC, or will the cracks widen, giving the PDP and the ADC their long-awaited window to take advantage of? One thing is clear, as the gateway state has once again become the theater where alliances, betrayals, and ambitions will shape the upcoming 2027 elections. Now, on a rhetorical note, what does the center have to say about this face-off? By the center, I mean President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. For President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, Ogun is not just another battleground, politically speaking. It's an economic engine of the Southwest, home to industrial hubs, vital corridors, and political actors whose influence extend far beyond the state's borders. Now, to lose Ogun State in 2027 will be more than a setback. It will be a crack in the foundation of Tinubu's power in the Southwest. But here lies the challenge. Ogun's political terrain is a minefield. The rivalries are fierce, the ambitions unrelenting. Governor Abiodun, Senator Daniel, and also Ibikunle Amosu and the Finance Minister Wale Edu all carry weight, all carry history, and in all, one way or another, trace their paths or roots back to the incumbent president, Tinubu. Now, this is where the president's political dexterity is actually tested. Can he balance loyalty with strategy, or can he keep Abiodun and Daniel from tearing Ogun APC apart? Can he also manage Amosu's lingering fire and Edun's rising whisper without alienating any power block? Now, in Abuja, the talk is clear. Tinubu is watching Ogun closely. The gateway state cannot, or probably will not, be allowed to slip into opposition hands, not when succession storms are already gathering in states such as Lagos or your state and Ekiti State. Ogun, therefore, is more than a state contest. It is a litmus test for Tinubu's authority. If he can actually impose order here in Ogun State, he strengthens his grip on the Southwest. If he fails, the opposition will smell blood and 2027 could look very different. The battle lines have actually been drawn and the gateway state has once again become a providing or proving ground for power. That will be all today on our Viewpoint, where we discover perspectives and embrace dialogue. I've been your host, Odeawa AI, on this Rift narrative. Thanks for watching.